Steve was enjoying a rare night off from watching the telephone when Jimmy got involved in the most infamous incident of his career. Something about going down the river without a paddle.
Scotland had qualified for the World Cup in '74, and prior to go off to the World Cup in Germany, we had the home and internationals, and we had a game against Wales on a Tuesday night, and on the Saturday we were playing England at Hampden. So I think we beat Wales 2-0, and we came back to Largs, and by the time we got back to Largs it was something like about 12 o'clock, but the manager gave us permission to go out and have a couple of beers. So we went along to, I think it was Ross Bowie's Hotel in Largs Seafront. So we went in there, and it was all the players were there, and nothing really too odd. We just had a few beers, a laugh, talking about the game and things like that.
Come on, gentlemen, that's time. It's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, away you go.
Come on.
Oh, so.
Good night. Good morning.
We were coming out of the hotel roughly about 5:30 in the morning. Quite surprised it was so bright and the birds were chirping away. And to get back to the hotel we were staying at, we had to walk along the seafront. So we were walking along the seafront, just chatting away and that.
Well, the Rangers Celtic games and such, I says, you fancy a wee clear ahead in the boats? There were 3 or 4 of them sitting. He says, aye, certainly. We've turned 1 hour. Just here. And I get in, I says, you're right. You shoved me off. Kicked me off. I thought, I'm alright, I'll get the oars, but there wasn't any rocks and I've done it again. For me. I can't believe it.
So Davy Hay and Eric Shadler got into another boat, a rowing boat that had the oars, and started to row out to pull them back in. But lo and behold, the boat that they got in had a hole in it, and it started to let in water. So they were starting to bail out. And of course we were all standing at the side laughing and joking and thinking this is a big laugh. But at the end of the day, wee Jimmy's just like a dot in the horizon. Still singing, mind you.
He had gone out on the boat, and of course I didn't know, the tide, etc. And he'd gone 10 yards, and I said, hey, you better come back. And he was Scotland, and he went out another, and he was 100 yards, and he was about that big. And then a wee bit later, I can still hear him. He's that big.
Can you believe it?
And then, boom, gone. I thought, oh, wow, where's he gone, man?
So the oars were useless. Not that he'd any intention of using them anyway.
The following morning, I always remember I come down the stairs, I'm sitting on Alton's back to you like a rush, you're lying there in bed and you're saying, my God. And then bit by bit it starts, oh, you're like, no. Down the stairs thinking that nothing at time, nobody had seen it and it would be maybe swept under a carpet. Come into the breakfast room and Denis is sitting at the corner on the table and he gives a, what shall we do with the drunken sailor? I said, that's a pal for you,
In the hotel in Largs, the following day after the boat, when he was in answering the press, I think that probably his most fearful moment, when he had to say, and somebody said, what was you doing out on the cloud in a boat, Johnny? And he went, because he asked me to go in, I said, what's that to do with me? And he went, he said, Denis and I decided to go fishing. I thought, you little bastard. Roped me right into it. I can't even swim, I wouldn't even go on a boat.
I mean, there was hundreds and hundreds of pressmen and photographers, and of course this was a big story. Scotland teams playing against England on the Saturday, and this is not the right preparation and whatnot. So wee Jimmy and some of us got real pelters in the paper.
Saturday arrived. Scotland versus England. Jimmy versus the press in front of a packed Hampden Stadium. A bad display and the wee man would be eaten for Sunday breakfast.
And then he had the most fantastic game. And they beat England 2-0, if I remember.
My favourite left foot. And he set it up for Brandon. And shot the enemy somewhere. Done! Yes! 1-0 for Scotland.
Had a good Scotland team at the time, and wee Jimmy played great. course, at the end of the game, the team did a lap of honour. And as we're coming around to the press box, Jimmy's getting the team and says, right lads, they gave us pelters on Saturday during the week, and he's wanting to give them a V sign and everything like that. We're having to try and calm them down, you know.
Little Jimmy Johnstone having a word with Peter Shaw. Jimmy Johnstone, so many things have happened to him this week. But here he is in a winning side here at Hampden Park, and Billy Bremner.
Short memories, these journalists. He was now the hero, as though he'd never tried to sail to America after all.
Supporters deserve it.
It was probably quite characteristic of Jimmy that he went through all that nonsense on the Ayrshire coast and then proceeded to perform like an inspired demon against England at Hampden.
This is amazing, eh? I'm in a nightmare here, eh? That's definitely Davy Hazel, Eric Shadler's. I know it. There wasn't as much water in it right enough, but it definitely is. I think that was mine. I wonder when it would ever turn up again. That's amazing. This is a dream, innit? I cannot believe this.
The rowing boat incident remains probably the most notorious and hilarious tale in Scottish football. But while abusing the drink may have its funny side to begin with, soon even Jock Stein, his great protector, had had enough.